Watch how Garry Kasparov creates one of the most insane attacks in chess history. A game so wild they call it the Immortal. And it all begins right here, when Topalov pushes his pawn to d4, kicking Kasparov's knight. Garry calmly saves it with knight to d5. And after the exchange, Topalov attacks the pawn on d5, but what he didn't know was that Kasparov was about to make history. The next few moves would become one of the greatest combinations ever played, a game written down in the history books as the Immortal. And this is where Kasparov begins to paint a masterpiece. Garry sacrifices the Rook, an outrageous move no human should even consider. Topalov captures it, thinking he's winning material. But then Kasparov drops the bomb, Rook to e7. The brilliant move, the move that ends the game. Now, Black is simply losing. Because if you take the Rook with the Queen, you get mated in just a few moves. Check on d4, the king is forced back. Then check on b6, and it's over. You can't block with the Queen still checkmate. You can't block with the bishop still checkmate. There is no escape. So what if Black refuses to take the Rook? If he blocks the check with his Rook, his Queen is hanging. If he blocks with his bishop, the bishop is gone. Every line loses instantly. Topalov suddenly realizes the danger of this impossible move. So he plays king to b6, trying desperately to run away. His king is literally sprinting across the board, running for his life from a Rook so strong. It doesn't need any protection at all. And now, my friend, Kasparov strikes again. Queen takes d, forecheck. A deadly move that makes the Black king feel arrested, frozen, helpless. Black has only one legal reply. He must take the knight on a 5. Kasparov pushes the pawn b5 check. The king is arrested again, forced all the way to a 4. And then Kasparov plays another masterpiece. Queen to c3. Look carefully, the Rook on e7 is still untouched. Still alive, still dominating the entire board. Black still cannot take it, because if he does, mate in 1 at b3. Topalov tries to hold the position together and takes the pawn on d5, preventing the immediate mate. But Kasparov doesn't stop. Rook to a7, and once again he threatens mate in 1. Topalov desperately plays bishop to b7 to block it. Kasparov responds instantly, he takes the bishop, and here's the brutal reality. If Black captures that bishop, he gets mated by the Queen. There is no escape. And now we fully understand why this is called the Immortal Game. Not just because of Kasparov's brilliance, but because of that Rook. A Rook so powerful, so untouchable, it became the Immortal Rook in chess history. Topalov is now desperate. He plays Queen to c4, begging for a queen trade to stop the deadly attack. But Kasparov refuses. He takes the knight on f6 instead, keeping every threat alive. And here Topalov makes a huge mistake. Instead of checking the white king, he grabs the pawn on a 3, and Garry punishes him instantly. Queen to a 6 check. The Black king is arrested yet again, forced to capture the pawn on b4. Kasparov replies with c3, check the last pawn joining the attack. Topalov takes it. And now the two kings are staring directly at each other across the board. A forced, humiliating walk for the Black king. Kasparov continues. Queen to a 1 check. King to d2. Queen to b2 check. King to d1. Kasparov is fully unleashed now. And he plays another brilliant move, bishop to f1. The idea is beautiful. Now Black can't check the white king with queen to d3. And if he takes the bishop, he gets mated with queen c2 check, king e1, rook e7 check, and mate follows. So Topalov tries rook to d2, attacking Kasparov's queen, but he forgets about the legendary piece of this game, the Immortal Rook. Kasparov plays rook to d7, a knockout blow. The rook pins Black's rook to the king, and now Black can't capture the queen. Topalov has no choice. He finally captures the Immortal Rook, but at a massive cost. He loses his queen. After Black takes the bishop, Kasparov collects the rook on h8, and now it's queen versus rook, a completely winning endgame. A few precise moves later, Topalov resigns. And that, my friend, is how this masterpiece was carved into chess history, forever known as the Immortal Game, and forever remembered for Kasparov's Immortal Rook.